Give the call to member for Fisher.
Thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I rise in support of this motion because AUKUS is one of the most important military defence arrangements that we as a country have ever entered into. Pillar 1, $368 billion worth of nuclear-propelled submarines. I sit here and I listen daily to those members opposite. I heard the member for Wills, as the Assistant Defence Minister, talking about the importance of AUKUS. I hear him talking about the strategic dangers that we now face in this country. And everybody seems to be acknowledging that we are now absolutely in the most geostrategically challenging times since 1945. But I tell you what, Madam Deputy Speaker, this government continues to let AUKUS slide. Now, when AUKUS was first announced in September of 2021, it was announced by the coalition government. It was groundbreaking. As has been said previously, AUKUS provides Australia with a technology that very few countries in this world have, with the exception of the United States and the United Kingdom. They are the crown jewels. This technology represents the crown jewels of defence equipment. And yet this government still has defence at around 2%, a tick over 2% of GDP. What this government has done is it has pulled funding from Army and Air Force and stuck it into the submarine program. And that's okay to be putting money into the submarine program. We need these submarines, but not at the expense of Army and Navy. Now, the Army and Air Force. The United States has recently come out and said the United States wants its allies to be shouldering the burden more of the defence of the Western world. No longer are NATO countries investing 2% or thereabouts of their respective GDPs. They are now investing 3.5% on defence expenditure and another 1.5% on defence infrastructure. 5% of GDP of NATO countries is now being spent on defence. And yet our Prime Minister says, well, we'll decide how much money we spend on defence. Our most important defence ally, the United States, is saying, Prime Minister, please lift Australia's defence expenditure. Please. We went to an election, the last election, with a commitment of a minimum of 3%, to lifting it to 3%. This government has got to increase its GDP expenditure on defence. It is not business as usual. The times where we are at, you cannot on the one hand say we live in the most geostrategically challenging times since 1945 and still spend 2% of GDP on defence. I would have thought that that was not rocket science, Madam Deputy Speaker. Every country in NATO, with the exception of one, has agreed to lift their expenditure to 5%. And yet here we are, still around 2%, 2.02% I think is the latest figure. And the Prime Minister said we'll decide. But look at who is saying we need to increase our expenditure. The likes of Angus Houston, former CDF, he's saying, the author of the Defence Strategic Review is saying we need to increase our defence expenditure. Greg Sheridan is saying the same. Peter Jennings is saying the same. Every expert on defence is telling your government you must increase defence expenditure, and yet this government, led by your Prime Minister, is saying we'll decide how much we spend on defence. No one will tell us what to do. It is an absolute debacle. Get real.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.